Welcome back, everyone, to our Let's Play series of TransRoad USA. So we're back here in the career mode, exactly where we left off in our previous video, and I had a lot of fun in that video because we really got things simplified, and that's what I'm looking for out of the game. And we're starting to look at some different avenues, some different ways that you can play the game. Obviously, there are thousands of different ways you can play these types of games, and I enjoy just looking at some of the different ways rather than focusing always on one particular way. Now, we amassed some money. We're up to 244,000. We have no loans outstanding at this current time. So we're in an opportunity where we can start to think about expanding. How do we want to expand? Those are some things we're going to start to look at in this particular video. But for now, you can see we just got finished up with a contract. Now we need to set up a new contract from Monty to Augusta to take its place. All right, so let's go ahead, pull up Monty, and you can see we are doing great as far as leveling up and gaining more reputation with these particular cities. And now we're looking at a 10 trip with a completion bonus 2,700 after the 10 trips and 1,500 per trip as far as profit. So I really like that. Again, money is not the most important thing here. We've just been focusing on these two particular cities and just trying to level each of them up so that we could get a longer number of trips and more money over time. Because the longer the trips, the less hand-holding we have to do on these things. And let's see, before we start the time going again, let's see, we have at least one of our trucks is in Monty. There you go. You can see it highlighted on the map as I mouse over these. So the one that's already in Monty, we want to start him out on that particular contract. All right, so let's go ahead and let these guys start. And once again, they will meet each other on the road. And I like it. We're making money both ways. They just simply swap back and forth on the contracts as they go between the cities. So we're in good shape. Now, let's start to think about expanding. We have 248,000. Now, I don't want to get too crazy with this and try to get too big too fast. So let's take a look at our HQ. So we're going to click here on our HQ, and then we're going to enter the HQ. Now, one thing I do want to point out on the quest, one of the things it wants us to do is launch a marketing campaign. And before we can do that, one of the steps is going to be get up to level 2, which is going to cost us 200 grand. So you can see these steps aren't necessarily going to be quick and easy to do because it's going to take some money. And of course, we're not quite ready to do all of these things just yet. But I did want to point that out while we were in the area. All right, so let's look at some of the things in here. We haven't spent a whole lot of time here in this area. If you look at our rank, here's what we need to do to rank up to cargo hauler. Okay, clients unlocked. You can see we're doing great there. A lot more than double the amount that we needed. We're also going to need 5 trucks, 5 trailers, 5 drivers. Okay, that's not that big a deal. We made it to the 200,000 in the bank account. Of course, we're about to deplete that if we're going to do any of these things. And then what will that get us? Well, it'll give us an additional depot will be purchasable. That's where we can look at expanding beyond just our original depot in Augusta. And then another trailer concession is purchasable. And then we can also upgrade our HQ to level 3. Right now, we could upgrade to level 2, but that's not really what I want to do because I'm not really interested in the marketing campaign just yet. Okay, I'm still interested in, let's get some more trucks and trailers going. So how are we going to do that? Well, right now, we only have spots available for 2. All right, if we come back out of here, you can see these guys are still hard at work on that. But if I go back to the fleet and there we go. Let's go ahead. Let's see what, let them, I want them to go as much as they can. Come on, keep going. There we go. All right, let's get out of there. All right. So one of the things that we want to do is expand with our fleet layout. And in order to do that, we're going to need to expand within our HQ. Oops. Okay, I thought I saw something on these guys where something was going a little weird. Now, one of the things that you're probably noticing is the gameplay is a little choppy. Unfortunately, the frames per second that you get with this game is not the greatest in the world. And I can tell you that that is something that they're working on. Overall, I get anywhere from 18 to about 25 for the most part. And right now, because it's paused, it's sitting on about 52 or 53, but that is definitely not normal. Uh, Again, I'm running a GTX 1070, which should be more than enough graphics horsepower to run this game, particularly with the graphic style that it's using. But, all right, before we get back in, oh, there it goes. All right, now this guy is going, where is he going? Okay, he's headed back over to, okay, yeah, he's headed back over to Monty. Okay, we're just going to let him, since he's already headed that direction, and it would take more effort to get him to come back. All right, now let's look at refilling, and then we'll come back to our depot situation. All right, so we want from Augusta to Monty. There we go, 15 trips. You can see the effects of leveling up our reputation. Now we're getting into longer contracts, 1,561 per trip, and a nice 16.9 for a completion bonus. These are all numbers that I really like. All right, we've already got one guy that is basically in Augusta right now. He's about to drop off. And so, all right, let's go ahead and let's enter the depot. You can see right now we have slots for 2 trucks, which are already out on the road. And now we can expand for an upfront cost of $50,000, which we more than have enough for. And then 14 grand per week in fixed costs. Now, I have no idea what on earth we're paying 14 grand per week on to have 2 additional slots. I have no idea whatsoever. It seems tremendously expensive, but it's part of the game, so we're just going to go with it and not worry about it too much. I will just make a quick note, though. If you are playing in free mode, up front, whenever you start the game, you do have an opportunity to adjust some of these. So you can reduce some of these fixed costs, you can reduce maintenance, you can reduce all sorts of things. So keep that in mind. But because we're in career mode, we don't have that option. Now, for our purposes, I'm going to go ahead and do that. Now, again, our costs just went up. So we're going to have to make sure that we can not only get our money back for that and recoup those costs each week, but of course, make money additionally on top of that. And you can see we can get an additional 2 slots for even more per week. And this time it'll cost us more up front as well. All right, so with that in mind, let's go ahead and let these guys keep going. And we are going to back our way out, and we're going to head down, and we're going to see what is available at the used trucks. Now, sometimes we get some terrible deals, and sometimes there are some good deals. And you can see new vehicles in 14 days. So the deals do change around as the game goes on. Automatically, I see something that I really like, and that is maintenance every 40,900. I love that. All right, let's see what we got. We're still in 2 axles, 46,000, and only 1,000 per week. So this one is 2,000 per week. Wow, this is very nice. Now, obviously, this one is much cheaper up front, but the fixed costs for this one are much better, and the fuel economy is even better on this one. I'm going to go ahead and buy this one. I like this one a lot. Again, we're not worried about more than 2 axles for now, but you can see at the bottom, the reefer loads, we don't have the necessary permits for just yet. That's why it's X'd out. And then, but both of those types of trailers, the dry goods and the reefer loads, we can pull at maximum speed. That's why it has the green speedometer there. Partial speed would be as we get above that, but we're not really interested in that. It'd be a long time before we get to those. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and spend the more money up front because I like less fixed cost and a much longer number of miles before maintenance needs to be done. Love that idea. So I'm going to go ahead, and that's less headache for us, hopefully, along the way. So we're going to buy this. And we're not interested in hiring a driver just yet because what we're going to need to do is get a trailer first. All right, you could get dry van. Now, reefer, again, we don't have the permits for that just yet, but we will be getting into that down the road. Again, it's a process. So right now, 42 grand, we want to buy that. And now we want to confirm and hire a driver, because now we've got a truck and a trailer. We need a driver. So what am I looking for here as we get another driver? Well, at this point, I don't need anything special as far as licenses. And the more licenses that a particular driver has, in all likelihood, he's going to ask for more money. Well, we don't need that right now. We're doing basic dry goods, and that's all we need. We just need the cheapest driver. Wow, that's nice. $280 per week plus 38 cents a mile. I don't know that we're going to get better than that, but let's just take, all right, 380 and 40. All right, you can see most of these are up much higher. There's another much cheaper option, and 860 and 82. But again, the licenses dictate a lot of that. All right, so 34 and 320. Wow, I'm going to go with this one. There are some nice options in there for us at this particular point in our growth, but 280 and 38 cents a mile is hard for us to beat. I'm going to go ahead and hire this guy. You notice he has no licenses. And what that means is that he's only going to be able to do dry goods and reefer loads. Those are the only two types of loads he could do without taking the possibility of getting caught by the licensing police. And if that happens, we get big problems. So now you can see our equipment is being delivered. And there we go. Now it has made it in. We're going to head to the depot. There's our truck and trailer that's already connected for us. We drag our driver on, and now he is ready to go. Now you see he shows up as idle. So what do we want to do now? Well, one of the things that we're sort of doing along the way is trying to unlock the furniture factory in Augusta. And last time we looked, as we scroll in a little bit more, is if we click on loads that are going here to the furniture factory in Augusta, we had been seeing that, oh wow, they're getting, why in the world would they be working with the corn company? But anyway, we had been seeing some loads from Boston to this. So I'm not particularly interested in any of these right now. I'm not going to force this. We'll unlock it whenever we do. But for now, what I want to do is I'm going to send this guy from Augusta to Boston. So we're going to try to work our way around the map in this fashion. So let's look and see what we've got. I already saw a nice load that I like coming from Boston to here. That's very nice. And so we got a 3-tripper there. Very nice. $2,600 completion bonus plus $1,100 per trip as far as the profit goes. We're going to put him on the number 1 schedule. Okay, and drop him on there. And because of what I've been talking about with my issues of the contracts and the return contracts, all right, I'm basically letting him get all the way down to Boston. Now I'm going to try to book that return trip and try to get the timing as good as I possibly can. And we'll see how this thing works out. Hopefully it'll work out for the best. Again, a lot of times it does, but not always. So we've got our schedule number 2, and these guys are still working. We're almost done with this particular contract. 9 out of 10 loads have been delivered, so that one will be done shortly. 2 out of 15, we're just getting started there. So it'll be time to re-up on our contract there very shortly. And now we're getting started here, and then we'll be looking to earn more money, and then I'll be adding a second truck to this particular schedule, and then we'll be off and running there as well. There we go, plus 4. Always like it when I see that. And now there's our contract that's just completed. So we need a new contract going from Monty back to Augusta. And there we are, 10 trips. Very nice. $11,000 completion bonus. We definitely want to make sure we get that, plus the $1,500 per trip in profit, or expected profit rather. Okay, now let's go. And once again, I want to find out which guy is already in Monty, and there he is. Let's drag him over onto this particular contract so we can pick up right where we left off. And again, if you haven't noticed before, the numbers that show up next to the driver and trucks here are their schedule numbers. That makes it easier for you to pick out who is who and what's delivering what. All right, so let's go ahead and drag this out just a little bit. And again, you can see the screen freezes and the hiccups in the game. That's from the slow frames per second. Right now we're in the 27, 28 range for frames per second. All right, and there we go. So contract delayed. And there's no reason whatsoever that should have been delayed. None. Because we booked these as tightly as I possibly could have. But so be it. That's just kind of the way things are. So that's why I'm using 2 trucks. Also, I noticed that we've got our maintenance icon showing up, 770 miles. All right, so I'm going to have this guy here pretty shortly. I'm going to have him duck out, and unfortunately right now he's going to have to head all the way down to New York City. But luckily this is not that big of a distance. All right, so we'll keep an eye on him, and hopefully I don't forget about him before it's time for his maintenance. All right, so back to, schedule number 1. All right, so we need something going from Augusta to Boston, but we'll wait on that until he gets right back up to that area. And just, again, try to do the best we can with this. All right, that's about as good as I can get. If I wait too long, we won't be able to get it at all. And, oh, wow. All right, that's a 2-trucker there. We don't want that one. That would be, it's very tempting to pick that one, but we can't. So, there we go. I like this one. You can see this one is Infinity. That is a recurring contract, $3,200 per trip. Wow. But it's a 2-trucker, and we're not quite ready for that, because for me to feel comfortable doing this, I would have to have 3 trucks on this. And here, that is a 3-truck, so I'd have to have 4 trucks on it. So yeah, but you can see the idea. The basic idea is here. What we want is to get longer trips, and ultimately, it just makes things simpler. If you can imagine, if you can get one of these recurring contracts, you don't have to worry about it. You just put these trucks on these particular routes, and then the only thing you have to worry about is maintenance while they're doing them, which is why I would want, in this case, it's a 2-truck contract. I'd want 3 trucks on it. And, you know, it's not the most efficient necessarily way of doing it, but for my quality of life and keeping my sanity and having to micromanage, that would be a great thing, because that's ultimately the goal. That's what's going to keep your sanity as you continue to grow. But for now, we're not quite ready for that, although we could be if I combined all 3 of these into one schedule, that is. All right, so let's watch. So right now, we're not going to have a return trip for this guy right now. All right, 376. All right, let's go ahead and prepare. Let's go ahead and drag this guy down. Let's go ahead and get this done before I forget. And yes, an absurd amount of money. We need to start opening up maintenance shops. And for those of you who are thinking, well, you can do that at your HQ, I'm not convinced that that's a good idea, because it costs an absolute ton up front to do it. And on top of that, you also have to keep in mind that you have to pay so much per week in a fixed cost. So I'm not convinced that you save any money doing that, unless maybe as you get much bigger. Maybe if you've got a whole bunch of trucks coming in and out of there on a regular basis, maybe it makes sense. But for right now, I'm not convinced that it makes any sense to turn one of your HQs into a maintenance facility. All right, so you can see we've got one of our guys that's down here in maintenance, and whenever he gets done, we should be in good shape for him to continue on. Let's go down here while I'm thinking about it, and let's see what kind of used trucks he has available. All right, new vehicles in 9 days. Now, this one isn't terrible that we saw before, and this one we get into 3 axles. Not really ready for that. Too much fixed cost, so we'll come back out of there. All right, so 2 axles, not bad, 65 grand. I like the 40,000 miles between maintenance checks. I like that. I'm not crazy about the fixed costs here. let's actually back out a little bit and let's go find out what's in Detroit. All right, new. This one is new and 81,000, not bad. Fixed costs, not crazy, but it's 50,000 maintenance. All right, because it's new. All right, I like this one a lot. That's 1,000 per week. The question is it a better deal? They're pretty close. That extra 1,000 per week, I don't like, but you got to look at how much more it is up front. So it's really a pick your poison, whichever one that you prefer. Let's look at the trailer. So that's 82,000 basically. So that'd be about 125,000 that we would be spending. And all right, so I don't want to quite run our money down that much. All right, in this case, let's come back over here because now we have an idle driver who is currently sitting in Augusta. Let's see what he's got. And that is a 2-truck contract. Again, at the top of the screen, it'll tell you how many trucks at a minimum you should have. And we've already seen that is, okay, wow, to Charlotte. That is a single tripper, $5,500 per trip, $32,000 completion bonus. Yes, please. And I am not going to attempt to book a return trip. I want to make sure that we get this 32 grand. I'm not even going to chance it. Okay, let's go ahead and drag our guy onto that. And let's let him go. This should give us the amount of money for me to feel comfortable about purchasing a second truck. All right, so now he's on his way down to Charlotte. And all right, we're leveling up in Boston. I like that a lot. And things are going well on the second schedule. And I'm waiting for this guy to get done with his maintenance. We can click on the all here and you can see 2 hours and there he goes. So now he is back on his way to the route. You can see our schedule 1 driver is back on his way to Augusta. Again, no return trip contract for him. I want to make sure we get that 32 grand for a completion bonus. I do not want to chance that at all. All right, so contract fulfilled for schedule number 2. All right, so now it's time for yet another. Let's take a quick look at their maintenance. All right, everybody's looking very nice here. I like it. Okay, let's click back over to the idle. So we're Augusta to Monty, we're still fine. So we need Monty back to Augusta. Oh, and lo and behold, here we go. There's our furniture factory. That's why I said I'm not going to force it. It'll happen whenever it happens. I'm not in a terrible hurry for it. So now we've got the option for this thing to happen. And you can see here, this would be a better load for us, but because of somewhere along the way, we want to get this thing done. This is a nice 3-tripper. Let's go ahead and take it. Okay, now let's come back because we have somebody that's here in Augusta. There he is. And the other is in, nope, they're both in Augusta. Okay, my bad there. All right, so let's go ahead and let them get started along those lines. So they're both going to get started on the same contract here. And then they'll pick up the Monty contract while they're there. And then we'll be able to watch our quest line as it continues to update. All right, so we should jump up to 4. I'm not sure why that's not updating because that should have updated. All right, we'll come back to that. Maybe it's a little bit late about doing so. All right, so now the only contract we have left, Monty to Augusta. So we're going to pick up Augusta and wow, how about this? Oh, so this is where they really start to tempt me. Okay, again, this is what happens whenever you get a really good reputation and you start to get these per week. And lo and behold, where's it going? To Augusta, to that furniture factory. 56 trips per week. It is a 2-truck contract. We don't want to do that now. For one thing, it's going from Augusta to Augusta, $68 per trip. That's no good. But then I see this one. Then I see this one, 50. It's also a 2-truck. That is not good. All right, so now we're forced to look down here, and we see Augusta to Charlotte. Now we're talking 15 trips, 5,800 per trip, 62 grand completion bonus. Now, this is what I'm talking about. All right, now, do I want to take this one just yet? Well, here's the thing. I think we're going to be just fine with this. I think this is going to be no problem whatsoever for us, but I'm going to hold off just in case. And the reason I'm going to do that is because I want to make sure that completion bonus is huge. So let's go ahead and let these guys, let's make sure that they both get back to Augusta and complete that contract. And there we go. All right, now I feel good about it. So here we go, 63,000. That is a huge deal. All right, now we've got that. Before we do that, let's just to Augusta from. All right, no. I thought we might find something from Charlotte. We do not. All right, and like I've said before, I am not interested in pressing our luck. Again, this is good money. Is it the absolute most? No, it is not. Come back here. And let's go ahead and get this done. And we're going to drop both of these guys on there to get this done as speedily as possible. All right, and let's check on our number 1 guy here. Schedule number 1. And let's bring up him and let's just see where he's at. All right, he is just outside of Charlotte. You can see making his delivery to, looks like a sawmill. And now he's on his way back up. And oh wow, fuel price has changed. Man, that dropped significantly from $4.10 to $2.30. Wow, I missed that because this actual news update is about a special contract. But man, that is huge. All right, so now we're starting to see the fruits of our labor. If you work with certain cities, okay, we're going to decline that. That's what we just saw, the special contract. We don't have anybody available. But if you get your reputation high enough, then you are in very good shape. There we go. So now a huge amount of money. In fact, let's go ahead while we're down here in Charlotte, see what kind of trucks they have available. Okay, they have used 18.5, not crazy about that for the number of mileage. 31, not bad. 82,000. Okay, that's, I think right now, let's go ahead and, yep, see, he's already gotten away from me. All right, let's go ahead as he gets closer to DC. I want to purchase another truck, but before that, let's see if there's any way that we can keep this guy from wasting his entire trip back. Oh, this is perfect. Washington, D.C. to Augusta, which is right back where we want him to go, basically. It's a single tripper. That's perfectly fine. That'll get us sort of back to home base where we can reset and see where we want to go. All right, let's go ahead and get that on, drag our guy onto it, and there we go. So now he's going to be off and running here very soon. Let's head back over to Detroit. And let's see. Oh, wow. Seriously? This is all they have? Okay, well, I guess we won't be buying anything from Detroit. So I would assume that means our competitors purchased vehicles from him. All right, so now 65 grand. This isn't bad. It's not the best in the world. Let's go ahead and wait that one more day, though. And because, you know, basically what do we have to lose. We'll use this time to check in on our guys here who are working on a huge contract for us. Now, ultimately, we want to get some nice contracts back and forth on this, but for now, we're going to keep things pretty simple. All right, our number one driver is back. Let's see if everything is reset. Here, there we go. It has reset indeed. So again, we're dealing with new, so these are going to be more expensive. But the good thing I see immediately here, 1,000 per week fixed cost. That's good. We've been seeing, 2,000 or more, even for these lower end 2-axle trucks. The biggest thing is 50,000 miles between maintenance. All right, here, this is the same thing. I like it. And then you see we go up to 3 axles, and now we're at $6,000 per week. We don't have any type of contracts or loads that we would be carrying right now that could necessitate purchasing a truck like this for 3 axles. We're simply not into the licenses that we would need that for. All right, I like this. This isn't necessarily the best deal, but I like it. We're going to go with it. Confirm that purchase. Let's go to the trailer. Again, we're still in dry vans. For now, let's confirm that purchase. And now we need to hire a driver. So now we're back. We're looking for the same thing we were looking for last time. And this is good enough. This is pretty low, $3.50 and then 33 cents per mile. That's pretty low. Okay, now he's going to be waiting at our depot. And also you can see our truck and trailer headed right back over here. Now you can see this guy is idle, and I've done that on purpose. He's sitting there because I'm going to combine these two guys into a single schedule the way I've done with my other two. There we go. Now they're back. Let's head into the depot and our new driver. There we go. We are all set there. Now we have 2 drivers that are ready, and let's just take a look and see what we've got. All right, we could do a recurring contract to Boston. It's only $807 per trip. It's a pretty short trip, too. We could do 50 trips to Boston. Very nice. I like that quite a bit, but it's a 2-trucker. And again, we're going to have 2 trucks on it, but it just worries me a little bit because we could possibly run behind. Same thing here, a 2-tripper, or 2 trucks, rather. 2 trucks. All right, so a lot of these I'm not a huge fan of. Now we get down into some things that I can get behind. All right, what do we have here? Okay, this is a nice little route here. So we're back on delivering mail, which is the very basic commodity that we can deliver. $1,600 per trip. And again, we're talking estimated profit here. $1,600 per trip plus $16,000 for a completion bonus. Now, let's look and see on the other side of this as we scroll back up. Let's see what we've got coming from Monty back over to Augusta. Okay, I like this a lot. $1,700 per trip, a nice almost $23,000 completion bonus. Yes, please. So, all right, let's pull up our contract. I have found exactly what I'm interested in. And where is it? Let's scroll down. There we go. So 15 trips to Monty. And once again, this is a 1-truck contract that we're going to put 2 trucks on. And then here is the flip side of that. And I'm going to go ahead and set that as well, as opposed to waiting till they get right over to Monty to do that as well. Let's go ahead and drag both of our guys onto this contract, and let's get this thing started. Let's get started making some money. All right, let's go and check in on, once we make sure that these start out. Okay, there's our first 2 trips. All right, so we're good there. And then, of course, these guys are going to head back over. All right, everything is going great there. And we check back in on these guys. Now, you can see we're 4 trips. And let's go ahead and, oops, that is the wrong schedule. All right, now, Charlotte. All right, some new driver applications are available to us. Let's look in Charlotte and see what we've got headed back up our way being Augusta. So we've got a load going to Detroit. That's not exactly on our way. And Indy, Memphis, you can see some very nice amounts of money, $3,700 per trip. These are all nice. We're just not really in this area right now in order to take advantage. But you can see there is for purchase a depot there for us. 3,600 going to Pittsburgh. So really most of this seems to be headed the opposite direction. Now here is a good one to Washington, D.C. that we could do along the way. But that's really all. Preferably would want to have something that is, if we get our contract pulled up, going back to Augusta. But of course, this is definitely along that path. All right, let's go ahead and wait till our guys are headed down this way. And where are they? You can tell that's a long trip. Here they come. So we're going to go ahead and try this out because I don't think that this will put us in any danger whatsoever. Okay, let's go ahead and load this up now. We'll take Charlotte to Washington, D.C. So ultimately what should happen here is we pick up in Charlotte, deliver to D.C., and then just head on back up toward Augusta. And now this opens up. I could get something from D.C. to Charlotte, but there is that $63,000 completion bonus that is looming over my head, which makes me very leery about trying to get too cute with this. I do think it would work. I very much think it would work mainly because this is a one truck contract that we're putting 2 trucks on. So we should be far enough ahead on the delivery schedule. You can see 41 days. We're doing great. All right, so there we go. Single time, it was a 2 tripper, but of course we got 2 trucks. So now what can we do? Do we have anything? Of course, we don't want to go back down. New York City is on the way, no doubt. A 2 tripper would be nice. I don't really see that. Okay, so really not much there that I would like, but no big deal. This is a 3 tripper. This should be fine as well. All right, let's go ahead and both of our guys are here. All right, let's go ahead and put one of these on each, actually at this particular point. And the reason I did it that way, the only reason was we have an odd number of trips here. So I'm thinking if we keep one guy going on the main contract, and then the other guy will pick this one up, and then the next time they come through, that should help us out with finishing up these last 2 trips, and should not be that big of a deal. Again, we're not trying to give it everything we've got on the efficiency side. I don't want to get this thing too convoluted. This is supposed to be fun, and we're trying to keep this as simple as possible. You can see our money is growing quite nicely, and I am very happy about that. All right, right now, let's see. All right, contract fulfilled on schedule number 1. All right, we're running low on time. I am absolutely having a blast playing this game, if you couldn't tell. I enjoy this type of thing. Again, I want to keep it simple. I want us to have a lot of fun with this and not get too caught up in it's got to be the most efficient and make the most money humanly possible. And right now, I think we're doing a pretty good balance of that. Let's take a quick look at our quest line. You can see 4 out of the 8. We'll eventually get to the 8, and then we'll eventually get to upgrading our HQ to a level 2, which will enable us to get into marketing campaigns and all that sort of thing. Those are all very good goals to have, but we're just taking it slow. We're in no particular hurry. We're making nice money. We're expanding. Everything is going well. So that'll do it for now. Thank you very much for joining me, and stay tuned for more of our Let's Play series of TransRoad USA.